Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jon Medved here from OurCrowd. We're having a very special Zcast today in honor of Jerusalem Day, and my guest is Sagi Brink-Danan. Sagi is the CEO of HIL Medical, one of OurCrowd's most exciting portfolio companies. It's up on the site right now, and the company is actively engaged in a very important area of cancer treatment called proton beam therapy. The Wall Street Journal was just highlighting this literally a little over a week ago about how the market for proton beams is just booming. So Sagi, tell us a little bit about proton beams and what your solutions are for this great market at HIL.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me here. So HIL is developing the next generation of proton beam therapy systems. And proton beam is the most advanced form of radiation therapy, which is, at its turn, one of the most common and effective tools in the fight against cancer. The problem with the proton beam today is that it uses very old technology from the 30s and the 40s. Those are very, very large, heavy machines to the tunes of tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars. And therefore, access is very, very limited. Less than 5% of eligible patients actually have access to this important therapy. And that's what we do at HIL Applied Medical. We try to, if you would, democratize proton beam therapy, bring it to every medium-sized hospital around the world, and every patient who could benefit from this important therapy.
That's pretty exciting. So when do you think it's going to be available for the average consumer or patient? Are we talking about sometime this year, next year, or is it much farther off?
It's a little farther off. We're talking about particle accelerators, high-intensity lasers, nanotechnology, ultra-fast magnets. We have a team of terrific, very smart physicists, and this stuff takes time. So our first alpha experimental system will probably be ready in 4 to 5 years, and then wider adoption after that.
So 4 to 5 years. Wow, this is big science. This is going to take a little while. Hard things take a little longer. Now my understanding is you're actually acquired a little company out in the U.S. called Nano Labs. They're active in the area. Can you explain us a little bit about that transaction and what it means for HIL?
Absolutely. So yes, we're a very science-oriented company, and as such, IP is very, very important for us. Patents are a very important asset. Now, Nano Labs is a U.S. company born out of the University of Nevada in Reno. And they have been developing for several years very complementary technology to what we are doing. Specifically, without being too technical, the kind of smart nano-engineered targets, physical targets, that when you fire a laser beam onto them, they emit protons, and those protons are then used to treat cancer. And so last week we just announced the acquisition. It doubles our portfolio of patents and strengthens our position there. It also adds some very complementary and important talent to our team. And on top of that, it serves as a very strong base for our U.S. operations, both R&D and commercial in a later stage.
I think it's actually rather remarkable that a small company such as yourselves has done this. This is a great precedent to acquire another little company. How many employees do you have post-acquisition?
As of today, we're 9.
As of today, you're 9. You had 5, now you have 9 people. Thank God, and soon you'll have a minion or 10 men, hopefully some women too.
No, we actually are 9 just here in Israel, and another 3 in the U.S., so 12 altogether. But you're right, we're a small company.
Okay, so now you got 12 tribes in the making. That's great. This is really exciting to me. Now, my understanding is that despite your small size, and despite the fact that we're still quite early days in the research of this important project, you've caught the attention of an industry giant. In fact, if you look at that Wall Street Journal article, it profiles a company called IBA, and they seem to be the big dog in this race. And now, what are they doing with you exactly?
Well, I can't elaborate on it right now. It's still confidential, but it will be announced within the next 30 days. And it's a pretty big deal for us. It's very important for us. They are, as you mentioned, the number 1 proton beam therapy company in the world for more than 30 years now. They have more than 50% worldwide market share. Their founder, Mr. Yves Jongen, who sits on our advisory board, is going to join our board, and he was nominated for a Lifetime Achievement Award by the EU for his work on proton beam therapy. So very, very exciting news for us, absolutely.
So you're working really closely with a real leader in the field. That's great for a small company. It helps really define what you do when you wake up in the morning. But you're just actually, while still a small company, you're focusing on a really big market. You just made an acquisition. You're working with the leader in the field and actually raising money as we speak right now for the company on OurCrowd. So I want to urge those listeners who have not yet invested to take a real look at HIL. Obviously, you should use an investment advisor as always and do your own due diligence, but definitely take a look at this investment opportunity. Now, HIL comes out of the Hebrew University here in Jerusalem. Your partner, Professor Ziegler, he's had some success before, right?
That's right. So you just touched on two important connection points with Jerusalem. One is, of course, OurCrowd, which invested in our previous round and now also in this round. And Professor Ziegler founded the company. He was then the chair of physics at the Hebrew University. And prior to that, he founded another medical device company called X Technologies, which was sold to Guidant, which is today Boston Scientific, for a couple $100 million. And he's doing it again.
We hope so. We hope that's just a baseline. The proton beam market is much, much bigger than that, and I think your technology is pretty earth-shattering. How does it feel to have a startup in Jerusalem? When people think about Israeli technology, they don't always immediately think of Jerusalem. They think more of Tel Aviv, Herzliya, Haifa, Netanya. What's it like to be running a company here in Jerusalem, the holy city?
Well, I think more and more so people are associating Jerusalem with innovation, especially in the biomed space. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Jerusalem named number 1 or number 2 hub for innovation recently?
Actually, it was just named by Time Magazine as the number 1 emerging hub for startups. We're doing really rather well. I think last year there were over 100 new startups set up just in the year. But what does it feel like? Do you get a lot of questions from other Israelis saying, hey, what do you do in Jerusalem? You know, what are you doing there with your startup?
Yeah, I do. And, I myself was not born in Jerusalem. I am in Jerusalem now for about 5 years with my family and kids. My wife teaches at the Hebrew University. And we like the city a lot. We came here because of HIL and because of my wife's academic position. And people raise their brows. But we're happy here, both personally. It's an amazing, beautiful city.
Look, we love Jerusalem, and we salute Jerusalem for its growth, for its amazing culture, for the spirituality, and now for its incredible technology. And we salute you at HIL Medical for being a big part of this and for contributing so much to the growth of Startup Nation and its capital, Jerusalem. If you want to find out more about this investment in HIL and other investment opportunities in Israel and globally, go to www.ourcrowd.com on your computer or mobile and check out HIL Medical. We look forward to talking to you next time. This is Jon Medved here from Jerusalem, Israel.